Hello. Hi. Did you get my message about the surprise party that I'm planning for Marion next week? Oh, great. Yeah, well, the plan is that I'm going to have a marquee in the back garden. I'm going to decorate it with, balloons and banner. Yeah.
Sounds like she's plotting
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've ordered the cake and I just wondered whether you could bring some of those candles. You know the candles that you blow and they don't go out, they keep lighting up again.
Sounds like a party for someone.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh yeah, I've got some sparklers and fizzes and things. Well, the plan is, if you bring Marion to my house next week and just tell her that you're coming for dinner, and then when you open the door, we'll all be waiting there. We'll go, surprise! Fab. Okay, see you next week. Bye.
Hi, Debs.
Oh, hi,
What are
Mary.
you plotting? Sounds great.
Well, we're planning to have a surprise birthday party for my friend Marion next week.
It's not a surprise now. They've all heard.
Oh, no. Oh, dear, never mind. Well, I'm sure it'll be really good fun anyway.
Yeah, and I'm sure you lot can keep a secret, can't you?
Please. Mary just used the word plot. But what does it mean to plot? Why don't you pause the video and share your ideas? What ideas did you come up with? According to the dictionary, a plot is a plan made in secret by a group of people who are going to try to do something illegal or harmful.
History is full of plotters and plots, and the month of November is a month where we remember a very famous plotter and a very famous plot. Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Guy Fawkes, 'twas his intent to blow up the Houses of Parliament. 70 barrels of powder below, poor old England to overthrow. By God's providence, he was catched with a dark lantern and burning match. Holla, boys, holla, let the bells ring. Holla, boys, holla, God save the King.
Every year for over 400 years, on the 5th of November, otherwise known as Bonfire Night, we remember the plot that failed. Guy Fawkes and his cronies attempted to assassinate the King of England, King James I, on the opening of Parliament in 1605. The plan was organised by a man called Robert Catesby, who was a devout Catholic. He wanted to kill the king because the king was not a Catholic, and he wanted someone else on the throne who would be more sympathetic to his beliefs. He joined forces with some other conspirators, including Guy Fawkes, and together they hatched a plan to blow up the Houses of Parliament. The king would be killed, and so would the government. They stashed 36 barrels of gunpowder in a chamber underneath the House of Lords. Guy Fawkes' job was to wait in the chamber, guarding the barrels of gunpowder. And then, when the king and all the government was assembled ready in the House of Lords, it was to light the fuse and bang! No more king. But the plot was foiled because someone handed a letter to a member of Parliament who was a Catholic, and this letter said, do not go into the Houses of Parliament on the 5th of November. So this person alerted the guards. The guards searched all through the Houses of Parliament, and there they found Guy Fawkes hiding under the chamber. Oh dear. Guy Fawkes was arrested, taken to the Tower of London, and he was executed for treason. An Act of Parliament was passed to ensure that the failed plot would be remembered every year on the 5th of November. And as part of these celebrations, children stuff old clothes full of straw to make a guy, and they put the guy on top of the bonfire.
Exciting stuff. And what's interesting is that since the gunpowder plot of over 400 years ago, whenever the Queen visited, or now the King visits, the Houses of Parliament, the royal bodyguards, called the Yeomen of the Guard, go searching down underneath the Houses of Parliament just to make sure there's no plotter lurking in the shadows. Plots are usually carried out by a person or group of people who are unhappy with a situation and who want to bring about change, but they go about it in completely the wrong way.
And you couldn't even dispose of them.
Well, it wasn't exactly like they was a lone star.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do? Kill Mufasa?
Precisely.
Was jealous. He was next in line to the throne, but when Mufasa had his baby son Simba, that meant his nose was put out, and so he decided to take matters into his own hands. There are lots of films and stories with plot lines like this one. The Bible is also full of stories of plotters and plots, like the story of Joseph and his jealous brothers. The brothers were jealous of Joseph and the fact that he was clearly his father's favourite son. Why, their dad had even given him a special coloured coat to wear. So, they plotted to kill him. But fortunately for Joseph, his brother Reuben suggested they just put him in a well so he could be rescued later. Judas thought Jesus was going to get rid of the Romans. And when he didn't act the way he thought he would, Judas thought he would get rid of Jesus. And then there were the sneaky servants in this next story.
A long time ago, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, set off with his army and defeated many nations and brought back many prisoners, including a young man called Daniel. Daniel was a very wise young man and very sensible. The king of Babylon liked him and chose Daniel to be one of his special servants. Daniel was a very good servant, so good that the king promoted him. The other servants were jealous. "Ooh, how come he gets promoted?" they asked. They were so jealous that they plotted to get rid of Daniel. They watched carefully to see if he made any mistakes that they could report to the king. But Daniel was hard-working and honest and didn't make any mistakes, so they plotted some more and came up with an even nastier plan. They'd noticed that Daniel prayed to God 3 times a day. Let's trick the king into killing Daniel. They went to the king and said, "Your Majesty, we would like a new law in Babylon. Whenever anyone prays, they must pray to the king for the next 30 days. Now the king was quite flattered and said, I like that law. Anyone who doesn't pray to me will be thrown to the hungry lions. As soon as a law was made, the jealous servants watched Daniel to see what he would do. Would he dare pray to God? Daniel knew it was wrong to pray to anyone but God, so he continued to pray 3 times a day. He even prayed with the window open so everyone could see. Aha! We've trapped him, the jealous servants exclaimed, and they ran straight to the king. Daniel's praying to his God, Your Majesty. He's breaking your new law and must be thrown to the lions. The king liked Daniel and didn't want to throw him to the lions. You've tricked me into making a law that I cannot change, said the king, and he was very, very angry with Daniel's enemies. But the law was made, and the king had to keep it. I'm so sorry, said the king to Daniel. I don't want to throw you into the lion's den, but I have no choice. Don't worry, said Daniel. God will keep me safe. That night, the king couldn't sleep. He felt terrible about what he'd done to Daniel. The next morning, he ran to the lion's den, wondering whether Daniel was still alive. The lid was lifted, and the king called down, Daniel, did your God keep you safe? Yes, said Daniel, I'm still here. Pull him out at once, said the king, and then he turned to the jealous servants and said, You tricked me into throwing Daniel into the lion's den. Now I have a nasty surprise for you.
Rah!
You can guess where they ended up. Then the king made a new law. From now on, everyone must worship the God that Daniel worships. Daniel was pleased. He trusted God, and God had kept him safe.
Oh dear, a very sticky end indeed for the jealous servants. But actually, plotting someone's downfall never ends well.
Ah, my friends.
Friends? I thought he said we were the enemy.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Ed?
No, let me explain. No, you don't understand. No, I didn't mean. No.
It never ends well if you're acting out jealousy or revenge. Guy Fawkes actually wanted to bring about change. He cared strongly about his beliefs, but he made a very bad choice in the way that he went about it. When faced with difficult people or situations, or if you're unhappy about something, what can you do to bring about change? Why don't you pause the video and have a chat about that with your friends? I wonder what ideas you came up with. Maybe you said fundraising, or going on a march, or signing a petition, or speaking out when you see that something is unfair or unjust. There are lots of good ways to bring about change without resorting to plotting in a nasty way. Unfortunately, history is full of people who have made really good choices and brought about great change. As we come to the end of our assembly today, let's ask God to help us to make good choices, to act the right reasons and in the right way. If you want to join me in my prayer, then listen to the words that I say and then say, Amen, I agree. Or otherwise, just think about our assembly today. Let's talk to God. God, we're sorry when we act from the wrong motives and make bad choices. Where we see the need to change, help us to act in the right way. Thank you for the example of Daniel in the story today, who was brave and stood up for what he believed. Help us to be brave enough to speak out and to stand up for what is right in a way that respects everyone and pleases you. Amen.
What on earth are you doing with all that strawberry?
I'm making a guy. Come and help me. Are you on the pillowcase?
Oh, go
And I'll
on then.
stop.